Welcome back and welcome to Vlogmas Day 2. This is going to be my November wrap up. This video is going to be in two parts, very appropriate that is Day 2. I'm going to flip back to me in the past with the books that I read whilst I was still in the UK, and then I will come back to me right now on Vlogmas Day 2 to tell you what other books I've read since coming back from the UK, or since filming that video, because technically some of it I read while I was still over UK waters because I read on a plane. But yes, let me flick back to me in the past and tell you what I read whilst in the UK. Yes, we are back in the UK to tell you about some of the things that I read here. The physical books that I read here I wanted to tell you about here because I'm not taking any of them back to Denver with me, so that's why I wanted to do them here. So first little books I read Almost Midnight by Rainbow Rowell. You can see the sparkle a little better in this lighting here. So this is two short stories with a sort of New Year's theme rather than a Christmas theme by Rainbow Rowell, which was brought out as a sort of special edition. As I say, I still feel like it was expensive for what it was. I feel like for $9.99 I could have got a big hardback book. Whereas on the other hand, this one was $1.99 and I think was definitely worth it because this is the price that you would pay for an ebook, and that is the short story Winter Snow by Carrie Hope Fletcher, which is an on the other side novella. Very, very short, this one, just 40 pages long. It's a nice little thing, but it's a really cute one. I still don't know. I may have brought this back to Denver with me. Me from the future will be able to advise you. And then I read Elephant Emergency, which is the third book in the Tanglewood Animal Park series by Tamsin Murray. I read this one right at the beginning of the month and I do so love this series, and like the art on the pages, each chapter starts with, this is a good example, starts with a little illustration, and it's just a lovely book, and I would just recommend it for anybody. If you are a teacher, get these in your classroom because they are so educational about the animals that are concerned, and they talk about, you know, feelings of feeling kind of left out and sort of family feelings as well. So there's a lot of good teaching points in there. It's not just about Tanglewood Animal Park but also cute animals. That's all you need to know, really. Do recommend that one, and if you are thinking of stocking up on Christmas presents, those three books would make excellent presents to give people. And then the other book that I read that I've been meaning to read for so long, and as soon as I got to the UK I bought this one, and I don't know why it took me so long to read it, and that is Freshers by Tom Ellen and Lucy Iverson. The lighting is great on this one. I love the fact that you can see just how yellow it is. You can see the fact that it's like shiny writing on the front as well. It's got this whole black and yellow theme all the way round, and this one is about a couple of people who went to school together and ended up at the same uni, and their different experience of Freshers Week initially and then their first term at uni. These authors take those pivotal points in young people's lives and just do a great job of writing about them. I loved their book Lobsters, that covers that time between school and university, that like weird in-betweeny summer, and then this covers Freshers Week, and sort of it really is expectation versus reality, and I love the fact that they've covered that time period and they've done a really good job of it. It's a very sort of entertaining read, and one of those kind of slightly open-ended endings. I don't know if we will be revisiting these characters or not, but I quite like the fact that the ending was slightly open-ended because it's only their first term of uni. I don't think everything should be decided by the time you get to the end of your first term of uni. I quite like the fact that it was a little bit open-ended. And then this very beautiful, beautiful book. I didn't realise quite how beautiful it was, cover-wise and end papers wise, until I undressed it. So the next one that I read was All That She Can See by Carrie Hope Fletcher, which again you can see that this is like a shimmery foil, and if you can see there it's raised, it's embossed, So we've got all the ideas, just like on the other side had all the ideas on the front, kind of interwoven ideas from the story into the cover, and the same on the back. And you can see in both cases we've got this heart, a bit like on the other side. But then you undress it, which of course you would do. You undress it, and the naked book is just gorgeous too. So this is the main character in the book, so I love the fact that she's prominently there on the front. The spine is gorgeous. It's this gorgeous orange colour, and then that is Carrie's logo from her YouTube channel as well, so it kind of ties it all together. And then, are you ready? Are you ready for these end papers? I don't know if you are. I mean, I just don't need to say anything. End papers. Yeah, so these are the books that I read, physical books, whilst I was in the UK. I did read one book on Kindle as well, so I will just share that with you. That was on my Kindle here, and that was No One Ever Has Sex on Christmas Day, which is the third in Tracy Bloom's series of No One Ever Has Sex novels. She has got some other novels out there as well, which I would recommend. She is very funny, and this series is set in Leeds, and I was reading this series in Leeds, which was really cool. And yeah, it was just funny, and it was very light-hearted, and there was an amazing nativity play at the end of it, which I want to steal her ideas from, and made me want to go and watch the film Nativity, which I did go and watch as soon as I finished this. So I will now pass you back over to me in the future to tell you what else, hopefully, I read in November. And back to me in the future, well, the present. Yes, present. I did bring winter snow back with me because I decided I did have room for it, just to update you on that one. I did read one book whilst I was in the UK that I forgot to show in that video. I can't remember if I actually I probably ended up reading it after filming that video, so don't have the physical copy of it here, but that book is going to feature in another video soon. Very exciting, and that book is a guinea pig nativity, because it's Christmas, you know, you have to have a guinea pig nativity at Christmas. Okay, so let's get on with the rest of the books that I read. I've got my little gold notebook to tell me exactly what I read, because I just can't remember right now. So I listened to, with my husband, the audiobook of Nevertheless, which is Alec Baldwin's memoir, which was really interesting. It's quite different from what we expected to be. It's read by him, which, you know, we love in a memoir. Of course, we need it to be read by the author, and we read it on our road trip to Vegas. So it was definitely interesting listening, and some of the films that he talks about I have put on hold in the library, so hopefully I will be watching some more of his films soon as well. So it kind of like made me think about films of his that I have and haven't read. One book that I read on my Kindle was Snowy Nights in Castle Court, which is by Holly Hepburn, and this is the first of the Castle Court series. It's going to be 4 novellas released at intervals, and then obviously there will probably be a paperback bind up at the end of this as well. This is set in Castle Court in Chester, and so I didn't realise it was set in Chester, but that was very exciting when I found out. And then another book that I actually ended up reading on my phone was a book of poetry, and I got the other one here. No. Yes, I was inspired to read this book of poetry because I was recommended The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace, which I think I will pop onto my December TBR, which is just here. It was kind of told to me that it was similar to Milk and Honey, and they had Milk and Honey on ebook on Hoopla, so I borrowed that one from the library and read that one on my phone. So poetry, bit different for me, but it was interesting. And I've got The Sun and Her Flowers, which is also by Rupi Kaur. This Princess Saves Herself isn't by Rupi Kaur, it's just similar, and that one's also by Rupi Kaur, so I have that one to read as well, so I'll see if I get to that one in December or not. But another book that I read on my Kindle, another short one, was A Christmas Wedding by Paige Toon. This is kind of a sequel to 13 Weddings and kind of a sequel to The Last Piece of My Heart, but it's just got so many characters. Paige does a great job of kind of like bringing in characters from her previous novels into other novels. They play like secondary characters, or they play a key in like a plot twist. So I read this one in November. This was quite Christmassy, but just a great read. I wouldn't recommend reading this one if you haven't read specifically those two books that I've talked about, but generally just Paige's other books. I mean, I recommend reading Paige Toon's other books anyway because she does great escapist fiction, but definitely if you haven't read 13 Weddings or The Last Piece of My Heart and you're planning on doing so, read those before reading this. But I mean, download this one on your Kindle now so it's there and ready for you, because you'll be wanting it when you finish The Last Piece of My Heart and or 13 Weddings, definitely. And then a book which I do have a physical copy of, but I didn't read on physical copy form. I listened to this book on audiobook, and that book is Every Day by David Levithan. This is the UK edition, which looks really, really different to the US edition. I think maybe I need to do one of these US versus UK covers for this one in particular. And then the follow-up to this one is Another Day, which basically tells the same story but from another character's perspective, and I also listened to that one. I thought I had a hard copy of that one, but I do not, so I'm reliant on the audiobook for that one. But yeah, maybe when I go to the library later I will have a look and see if they've got the US cover of this one, so I can show you a bit of a comparison, because it's very, very different. But yeah, I do like the cover of this one because if you can see all the writing, I like all the writing on it, and it's even got the same on the spine as well. Yes, so the physical copy that I have, but I didn't read the physical copy. I listened to the audiobook of this and the audiobook of Another Day. Oh wow, the sun's just gone in. Scary. Yeah, and that is it. I started another couple of audiobooks as well. One of them returned to the library, so I'm waiting to hopefully get that back in the month of December, and another one which I'm just not far enough through to count it as a November read, so that will appear in my December TBR. So I will be back with another video for you tomorrow, and that video will be my December TBR. Okay, so remember to subscribe if you want my Vlogmas videos hitting your subscription box, along with probably everybody else's Vlogmas videos. Definitely kind of sorry not sorry on that one. And yeah, I will have my December TBR, and remember to go and leave a comment on yesterday's Vlogmas video as to what else you would like to see during the month of December, because I will be bringing you content every day up until Christmas. So let me know, and if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up as well. Always grateful for those thumbs ups too. Okay, so I will see you with my December TBR tomorrow. Bye.